Hi guys, I'm Caitlin and this is BookChats, and today I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. It's created by Shami from Reads Like Wildfire and Ellie from Earl Grey Books. They started it, I guess, when they had a blog, and then they adapted it to BookTube, and I will put links to both of their channels down below. The first question is, what is the best book you've read so far this year? The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I could talk about this book at length, but I want to keep this short, so I will just nudge you towards my review. Question number 2, what is the best sequel that you've read this year? The Last of August by Brittany Cavallaro. Basically, I enjoyed the first book in this series a lot last year. It was my favorite debut of the year, and this built on it in all the best ways. Everything that I liked in the first book, it built out and it made better, and the things I was less enthusiastic about, it improved. What new release have you not read yet but want to? Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. My friend bought this for me for Christmas. She bought me the British edition, so it had to come all the way from the UK. It's beautiful. And then, like 3 days after receiving it, I decided to do my TBR wrapping project, and it is now in one of these. I'm 90% sure it's this one because it's in the right paper and it's like the right size, but I'm not actually positive, so really want to read that book. Really haven't read it yet. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have pre-ordered and not yet received because it's not out yet, Because You Love to Hate Me, which is the anthology about villains that booktubers and authors are both a part of. I really wanted to be an owner of this book when I heard that some of the booktubers I know helped contribute to it, but I'm also not like a huge villain person, so I don't know how much I will end up enjoying it or not enjoying it. So the other book I want to mention here is The Arsonist by Stephanie Oakes. I really loved her debut when I read it 2 years ago, and I've been patiently waiting for her to come out with something else. I know very little about The Arsonist except that it's written by Stephanie Oakes and that she's a poet writing YA, and that is my jam. So I'm excited to read that book. Number 5 is your biggest disappointment. So I'm actually going to get spoilery when I discuss this, but I will put my hand up when the spoiler starts, so you don't have to turn away yet. The book is A Study in Scarlet Women by Sherry Thomas. It is a gender-bent retelling of Sherlock Holmes, in which Sherlock is a woman named Charlotte Holmes. Yes, Charlotte, whatever, it's a common thing, I guess. It is like a straight-up mystery with a very slow burn romance, but that is kind of where my problem came in. Spoilers happening right now. Turn your sound up if you don't want to hear spoilers, and don't turn off the closed captions if you don't want to spoiler yourself. The love interest in this novel for Charlotte Holmes is a married man, and he's very unhappy in his marriage. They both recognize that they are better for each other than he and his wife are, but he is also a faithful man who is not going to abandon his wife, and divorce was not a thing of the time, and so you spend a good chunk of the book wishing his wife was dead. And I could tell that if I continued to read this series, I would just spend the whole time wishing his wife was dead. And it was just really, not what I wanted to be and not where I wanted to be. And it was really disappointing to me because I expected to love this book, and then it had this one element that is like a no-go for me. And so that was my thing. So that was the reason I had the big problem with this book. So, spoilers are over now. You can listen again. I'm going to move on to my biggest surprise of the year. That's question 6, and it was The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. You might be like, Well of Ascension? ? Okay, The Well of Ascension is very, very surprising. But The Hero of Ages made it onto this list because not only did the plot surprise me, but it surprised me how Mormon it was. I'm actually thinking about making a whole video about this, but I'm waiting until my Mormon friend actually reads the book and we discuss it together, because it's possible that I'm just reading into things too much. But it felt very Mormon to me, and I was very surprised by that. And I was surprised, I think, because I just don't expect that in books. I forget that, of course, people's religion and worldview will infiltrate the way they write and the themes they write about, and so I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. Question number 7 is your favorite new author, and this can be either a debut author or a new-to-you author. Of course, I love Angie Thomas and The Hate You Give a lot, and I'm definitely going to be reading whatever she writes next, but I really want to take this time to talk about Courtney Milan. Technically, I had read one Courtney Milan novella before this year, but I didn't get the hype because I didn't really enjoy that novella, and then I just happened to pick up another of her works this year, and it was amazing. And then I inhaled an entire series, and then I inhaled another series. She is great. She is wonderful. She writes characters that are compelling and interesting. She writes love stories that have love beyond just the sex. Like, they recognize that love is not the same thing as seduction. She writes women that are wonderfully subversive and manage, even within the confines of the historical setting, to be strong compelling women. If you are at all curious about historical romance, I absolutely recommend Courtney Milan. Talk to me. I will talk your ear off about where you should read, where you should start, and what you should do. And if you already love Courtney Milan, please talk to me. I need to talk to you about her amazingness because, oh man. Question number 8 is your newest fictional crush. I've decided to change this to be like your newest ship or sort of your newest OTP because I don't really have fictional crushes, especially when I'm reading YA because I'm too old for that. I have to say that my newest OTP or like ship are Star's parents in The Hate U Give. They're wonderful and amazing. Their relationship is so solid and so great, even though they've obviously had trials in their relationship and had tough things that they've gone through. And it is just fabulous. Their relationship with each other is fabulous. Their relationship with Star is fabulous. And that just is going to roll into the next question, which is your newest favorite character. I also don't have a ton of favorite characters, or at least from the first 6 months of this year, I don't. So I'm just going to count Star's parents as also my newest favorite characters. They're just like the perfect parents. They're wonderful. I love them so much. And they're probably my favorite part of that book. And I loved that book. So I loved a lot of parts of that book. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. I am not hard to make cry. I cry very easily at books. I just decided to go with a book that is written by the author who literally has always made me cry with every single one of his books. And that was The Wednesday Wars by Gary D. Schmidt. Gary D. Schmidt is amazing. You all should read him. I know he writes middle grade, and you might be like, I don't read middle grade, but whatever. His writing is universal, and it's amazing, and his parents are awesome, and his adults are awesome, and his children are awesome, and everyone in his books has like a 3-dimensional life, and they're all amazing, and they all will make you cry, and The Wednesday Wars will make you cry, but it's a good cry. It's not a bad cry, it's a good cry, I promise. Also, every book I've ever read of his has been an audiobook, and the audiobooks are great, so I totally recommend audiobooks of his work. All right. Question number 11 is, what is a book that made you happy? This one is totally specific to me. I read this book on audio earlier this year, recommended by a friend, called Kitchens of the Great Midwest, and it made me feel like home. It's a very unusual formatted book. Each chapter is from the point of view of a different character, and the whole book is technically about one character, but you only get one chapter from that person's point of view, and then all the other chapters are people who just sort of are in and out of that person's life. It probably would not work for everyone, but it really worked for me, and part of that was the excellent narration. Obviously, Kitchens of the Great Midwest, some of the chapters are in Minnesota, and so the characters are Minnesotan, and they just do such Minnesotan things. They felt a lot like How to Talk Minnesotan, the play, if you've ever seen it. You probably haven't if you're not from Minnesota. I really enjoyed the book. It really made me happy because it just reminded me of home. Question number 12. What is your favorite book-to-movie adaptation you've seen this year? I think I've actually only seen one, but I did really enjoy it, and that was Hidden Figures. Yes, Hidden Figures is sort of based on a book. Why do you say sort of? Because it's really was based on the proposal for the book, and the book wasn't really done until they'd already started filming, but it was like inspired by the fact that Margot Shetterly was writing about this part of history, so I think it counts. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was like a really classic Hollywood family film, but about people that don't get to be the normal stars and center of a classic Hollywood family film. Question number 13, what is your favorite review you've written this year, or your favorite video that you've made this year? I'm gonna do my review because I don't really love the videos I've made this year, and I feel really bad about that. But my favorite review that I wrote this year was my review for The Last of August. I'll definitely put a link down below, because I just was able to articulate all my love for these characters and this book in a way that I was really proud of. Question number 14, what is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year? The Visual Miscellaneum, and not because of the cover, but because of the contents. This is an awesome book that my book twin Stephanie bought me for my birthday, and it is a book of infographics. And so it has all these beautiful visualizations of data, and it's just really inspiring to me because I'm always trying to think of better ways to display basically data more visually and more comprehensively. And so it was really inspiring to me to like just flip through this and see how. Now, they're not always super informative. They kind of tend to be more on the visual and less on the data side of things. But it's okay, because sometimes you need to not give as much detail in order to get your message across better. Question 15 is my last question that I'm answering, and that is, which books do you need to read by the end of the year? Do you see this shelf full of wrapped books? Technically, I need to read all of them at some point, but it's very unrealistic that I'll read all of these before the end of the year, because I also visit the library and read books I get from there. So the ones I specifically need to read are the ones in this wrapping paper, because this wrapping paper says, I was bought most recently, and I have told myself, although I technically violated this today, but shh, I've told myself I cannot buy any more books until all of the books in this wrapping paper are read. So there's about 11 of them, I believe, and I need to read those before I can buy any more books, and I want to be able to buy books, so I need to get on that. Those are the books I need to read before the end of the year. So, because I would really like to be able to buy books next year. That would be nice. That is the end of my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you learned something from this video. If you had any of the same books on your list for the mid-year book freakout, let me know, because I would love to talk about them with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!